Welcome to 21st Sports Recap and Reaction for the Indianapolis Colts at the Tennessee Titans in their Week 3 matchup, September 27, 2015. We're going to go over all the scores and the stats and give our breakdown and analysis. What a wild one this one was. So a lot of points scored as these two teams combined for 68 total points in this game. Let's get started in the first quarter with about 6 minutes left in the first. Frank Gore punches it in from a yard out for the first points of this game. Vinatieri scored the extra point, and it was 7-0 Colts over the Titans. So that was the score after one. Then in the second quarter, with about 13 minutes left before halftime, Dwight Lowry picks off Marcus Mariota and runs it back 69 yards for the pick six as he hits pay dirt. And with the extra point by Vinatieri, it was 14-0 Indianapolis over Tennessee. Then with about 8.5 minutes left in the first half, Ryan Succop put the Titans on the scoreboard with a 38-yard field goal. It was now an 11-point lead for the Colts with the score 14-3 Indianapolis over Tennessee. Then with just seconds left before halftime, less than half a minute, Marcus Mariota hits Kendall Wright for a 7-yard touchdown. And with the extra point by Succop, it was a 4-point game with the score Indianapolis 14, Tennessee 10. So that was the score going into intermission. Then in the third quarter, Antonio Andrews would run it 8 yards for the touchdown to put the Titans in the lead by 3 with the extra point by Succop, as it was now 17-14 Tennessee over Indianapolis. So now we'd end up with an interception by Andrew Luck, and that would set up a 3-yard touchdown pass by Marcus Mariota to Dorial Green Beckham, and it was now a 10-point lead after the extra point by Succop with the score Tennessee 24, Indianapolis 14. And then another interception by Luck in the third quarter would set up a 21-yard field goal by Ryan Succop, and it was now a 13-point lead for the Titans with the score 27-14, and that would be the score after 3 quarters of play. So the Colts had been up 14-0 at the beginning of this game, and now the Tennessee Titans were in the lead by 13 points heading into the fourth quarter. But then in the fourth quarter, Indianapolis would get back to scoring as they had let up 27 unanswered points, but they finally responded as Andrew Luck hit the rookie from the U, Philip Dorsett, for a 35-yard touchdown. And with the extra point by Vinatieri, it was a 6-point game with the score Tennessee 27, Indianapolis 21. Then with less than a minute later, after actually capitalizing off an interception by Mariota, Andrew Luck then hits Dante Moncrief for an 11-yard touchdown. Vinatieri added the extra point, and the Colts were back in the lead for the first time since Tennessee took the lead early on in the third quarter, with the score now Colts 28, Titans 27, with less than 6 minutes left to play. And then the Colts would get back in the end zone about 3 minutes later when Frank Gore scored his second touchdown of the game. This one a 6-yard touchdown run. The extra point by Vinatieri would make it an 8-point lead with the score Indianapolis 35, Tennessee 27. Then with less than a minute left to play, the Titans would end up going 80 yards in 9 plays, and Charleston Fowler punched it in from a yard out, but the 2-point conversion failed as they were looking to tie the game with a 2-point conversion. Instead, they were down by 2 points as they trailed the Colts 35-33 with less than a minute left to play. So they would go for the onside kick, but it failed. It went out of bounds. And so all that was left to do was for Andrew Luck to take 3 knees in the victory formation as this game would come to a close. Tennessee ended up using their timeout, but they didn't have enough timeouts to stop the Colts from taking those knees. In Indianapolis, the Colts come up huge. They were up 14-0. They let up 27 unanswered, and then they scored 21 points in the fourth quarter for the comeback win as they win by 2. And quite the thriller there in Tennessee as the Colts have left the winless. They're no longer winless. They're now 1-2 as they avoid the dreaded 0-3 as hope is still alive in Indianapolis. And Tennessee is now also 1-2 as these two division rivals battled it out there in Nashville. So quite the game between these two AFC South opponents. We look at the numbers. Luck 18 for 30, 260 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He had 6 carries for 21 yards. Marcus Mariota 27 for 44, 367 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Is Mariota throwing the ball the most he's thrown it this year? And a lot of passing yards. If those are those growing pains. I thought he actually looked really good, though. You're gonna have days like this, you know what I mean? But that's how you get better. And we look at Frank Gore contributing big time for the first time this season. He had a big game, 14 carries, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns, as he was ripping off the yards there out of the backfield. And then he also had a reception for 8 yards as well. Speaking of receptions, T.Y. Hilton, 4 catches for 94 yards. Kobe Fleener, 4 catches for 51 yards. Philip Dorsett, 2 catches for 43 yards and a touchdown. Of course, Moncrief, 4 catches, 32 yards and a touchdown. Doyle, 3 receptions for 32 yards. And over on the other side for the Titans, Antonio Andrews, 12 carries for 49 yards and a touchdown. And Fowler, 4 carries for 9 yards and a touchdown. Leading receiver was Kendall Wright for the Titans with 7 receptions for 95 yards. He's leading receiver in the game. He also had a touchdown as well. Delaney Walker had 7 receptions for 68 yards. And Dexter McCluster, 1 reception for 35 yards. Bishop Sankey, 2 receptions for 31 yards. He had just 5 carries for 10 yards for Bishop. And we look at the kicking. Suck up 2 for 2 on the field goals, 3 for 3 on the extra points. Vinatieri, 5 for 5 on the extra points. He did not attempt any field goals in this game. Taquil Jackson, 8 tackles for the Colts. Freeman had a sack. Perry had a sack. Mathis had a sack. Lowry had 2 interceptions, including the pick 6. And on the other side, the Titans, Casey had a sack. Klug had a sack. Arakpo had a sack. And Cox and Brown each had picks. And Klug had a forced fumble to go along with his sack. He also had 3 tackles. The Titans had more first downs. They had 28 first downs versus 20 for the Colts. Both teams converted just 4 third downs. The Colts attempted 11, so they're 4 for 11, 36%. And the Titans were 4 for 13 for 30% conversion rate. Both teams went for it once on 4th down, and they both converted on 4th down, 100% respectively. Total net yards, 433 for the Titans, 378 for the Colts. On the ground, the Colts netted 133. The Titans netted 88 rushing yards. Through the air, this is funny, right? You would think it'd be the other way around, but the Titans netted 100 more yards through the air, 345 versus 245 for the Colts. Both quarterbacks were sacked 3 times. Mariota sacked 3 times for a 22 total loss of yards, and Luck sacked 3 times for a loss of 15 total yards. And we look at the penalties. A lot of penalties for the Colts, and they still managed to come away with the win, even with the turnovers and the penalties. 11 penalties for 71 yards against the Colts, 6 for 55 for the Titans. And in the red zone, the Colts 3 for 3, 100%. The Titans 4 for 6, 66%. On goal to go, 1 for 1 for the Colts, 4 for 5 for the Titans. So the Titans doing pretty good in the red zone. Of course, those 2 missed opportunities ended up costing them the game. And we look at the time of possession was in favor of the Titans, 34 minutes and 59 seconds versus 25 minutes and 1 second for the Colts. So it was quite the battle, but Luck just coming up clutch, especially there in the 4th quarter, as he ends up throwing 2 touchdowns in the 4th quarter, and Frank Gore ran for his 2nd touchdown, which gave them 3 touchdowns in the 4th quarter. He, of course, had that rushing touchdown in the 1st quarter, so he bookended the game with touchdowns as he scored the 1st touchdown of the game for the Colts and the last touchdown for the Colts in the game. Of course, the Titans scored the last touchdown of the game, but that 2-point conversion that failed was what had them falling just short of forcing overtime. So this one came down to the wire, but the Colts pulled it out even with the mistakes. There's mistakes on both sides, but Andrew Luck makes it happen. And Frank Gore was really the difference maker in this game. So let me know what you think in the comments section below. Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. Thank you very much for listening. It's greatly appreciated. I hope you're having a good day and had a great weekend and enjoyed all the sports.